Okay, now that we have the recording started, I'm going to state that again, just so that in case anybody on the recording didn't hear this, we're going to do some very real talk today. I'm not going to sugarcoat very much today. I'm going to try to challenge your way of thinking entirely. And so if you are feeling sensitive, then watch this another time, participate another time in this. And if you feel yourself getting offended early, you might want to get a little nervous because I'm saving up some really good stuff to offend you with later. So if you're getting offended early, like you just wait, it's coming. It's really coming later. All right. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to try to offend anybody. But I'm also not going to be worried about if I do or not. I'm going to say what I really think.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. Do we have it good in this business? Is this a good industry to be in? Did we choose a good career path?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yes.
Okay.
100%.
So successful people in this business will say that. But let me just show you guys a little bit of what I've observed. Let me pull up this. Whoops. First I have to share the screen. And I have to do the slideshow. All right, are you guys seeing that, Lacey?
Yes.
So this is what I've observed. I've observed a humongous washout rate. Those who do somehow manage to survive for that first year or two, oftentimes just sort of bounce along the bottom. They never really thrive. They just kind of squeak out in existence. Some actually have the right set of circumstances. Hold on, I got to get that off there. Some actually have the right set of circumstances and they make pretty good money. A few just absolutely kill it. But even those who do make it, I notice they're often slaves to their own business. They're constantly worried about where the next deal is coming from. And I don't know any successful agents who are being honest, who say otherwise. Even those really highly successful ones wish that this could be a little smoother. They work really hard their whole lives, and they have little to show for it at the end. So this isn't really the best PR campaign I'm laying out right now, or come be a realtor.
Very sorry.
Right? It really is the realities of our business. Now, we're talking about our business in the context of a bigger, broader picture, which is how do you actually comfortably retire someday? Okay. And so one of the answers to that question is that you have a business that's a good business that produces you income. And I'm not trying to be negative, but these are the realities of what we're facing. So we say to ourselves, well, we're different than the normal because we're Synergy. We have the best of the best. We have all this extra training. We have all these extra resources. We have all this collaboration. We have all these people willing to help us. We have all these successful leaders that are willing to help us. We have a board of directors. And when we meet every month, what do you think we're meeting about? How do we make the agents successful in Synergy?
Yeah.
When I pray every night about Synergy, what am I asking for? That these Synergy agents will be successful. And in our board of directors, in our last retreat, we have one coming up in September. But in our last retreat last year, we talked about how we wanted to create legacy wealth one agent at a time.
Like that.
Okay. So, and then we can think, well, yeah, no worries for us because since we're in this EXP model, then we have 3 sources of income. And so we're way ahead of everybody else. And the numbers are pretty big. You know, we're talking about high median home price, and we have a commission sharing arrangement where the numbers are big. So that can be big. So we're not really worried about that. We've also done the Smart Money series, where I've shared what I know about time value of money and the absolute power of that. We're going to review that a little bit in this series. But we shared all these good financial principles But the reason for this series, this Commission to Comfort series, is because I don't see this happening in Synergy. I'm privy to the numbers, and I see this absolute river of gold in front of us, in front of all of us. And I see only a very small few of Synergy dipping the cup in and taking some of that river of gold. And I've spent so much time thinking about this and trying to figure out why is that the case.
Yes.
And I just cannot in good conscience sit there and watch this happen and watch all this wealth pass everybody in Synergy by and not say something about it. So for the longest time, I felt like, well, I don't want to be like a lot of the other EXP agents, which is all about recruiting. And so we have focused a lot of our time on how to help agents be productive. A lot of the training that we've done as a board of directors is about how to make agents productive. But the reality of this is that alone is not going to help you achieve your objectives. It's just a reality, and I'm gonna prove that to you here. But the purpose of this series is to help everybody take advantage of what is really right there in front of us. And the reason is because if we don't, we will not accomplish what we want to retire with, and we'll be like every other agent that never has a retirement party. I'm going to have an amazing retirement party. You guys are all going to be invited to it. Okay. And I know some other Synergy agents who are on track to do that as well. The beautiful thing is that for me, retirement means the party is just to say, I don't have to work anymore if I want to, but I'm going to be still working because I love working. I love this business. I love what we're doing. I love providing trainings and CE and all that kind of stuff. So I'm doing that till my last breath, but I don't want to have to do it. To me, for me, that's my definition of freedom. So I want to help you guys really understand in this series power of revenue share. What I said to myself in the beginning was, if all this ever does is pay my mortgage, I'll consider it to be highly successful for me. Now, the crazy thing is that my first rev share check I ever got was $1,400, which is how much my mortgage is. And I've never had it lower than that. So it has literally, the prophecy has already come true so far that this thing has paid my mortgage. And even if I got paid nothing in revenue share for many years going forward, because the revenue share was higher than my mortgage for so many months, it would still be a true statement that it's paid my mortgage. Now, I want to hear from you guys because I'm just genuinely curious about this. What is it for you? If this would just pay my whatever, is something paying for your housing for the rest of your life? Does that change your life?
Absolutely.
For me, that is a yes. I don't have to be Brent Go. I don't need $700,000 a month in revenue share like he's getting. That'd be great. I'd take it. Sure. But that to me, life-changing is pay for my housing. And then I can figure out a new life-changing metric later. But for me, it's pay for my housing. Okay. Anybody any different than that? Anybody have higher aspirations? Abena.
I just want to be debt free completely.
Get out of debt.
To be able to self-finance my entire life.
Okay.
That I have 3 generations under me now.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say that's a noble desire. So one of the things I'd like everybody to kind of write down as a homework from this, that maybe we'll talk about a little bit in the beginning of the next session which is a week from today, after you've had a chance to think about this, is what is it that you want your statement to be? Mine was, if all it ever does is pay my mortgage, and just by putting that out there, I attracted that result into me. So maybe I should have said, if all this ever does is get me $100 million yacht, I'll be happy, right? Maybe that's what I should have said. But in the realities of the thing of life, I think you have to identify, what would you identify for yourself would be life-changing? So, Alvin, can I pick on you for a little bit since you were brave enough to share with us what your life-changing thing would be?
Please.
So you said to be debt-free, right? So have you done the math
Yes,
to know how to accomplish that?
yes.
Okay, good. Do you have a plan? What is your plan? What is your strategy?
I have a strategy written down, yes.
Okay, can you tell us, just generally speaking, what your game plan is?
Based on my current debt, I could be debt free if I were to have in one calendar year, 24. 24, no, it doesn't matter number of sales. If I could have $250,000 a year after taxes,
Okay,
I could be debt free in 18 months.
in 18 months. Okay, so she's figured that out. What most agents have done is they say, well, if I had $20,000 a month coming in residual income, that would be life changing. And then you say, so what's your plan for that? And there is none, right? There is no plan. So we're gonna talk about that too. So when I consider all of these things, the only thing I really have left is to just ask myself constantly, why are these things happening? So in the case of revenue share, why? I want you to retort, like ask this to yourself. You don't need to answer, but I want you to ask yourself, why am I not earning the revenue share that I should be earning now? Now, what I did was I came up with some reasons why we typically don't take action. And so what I want you to do as we go through these is think about which of these are you in. Pain and downside of not doing it now is in the future, meaning that it's not imminent. Okay, so this is a lot of times people who will that are subject to substance abuse, right? It's because the pain of it is in the future. It's not imminent now. And there is a story written by C.S. Lewis, and the gist of the story is that the devil sends out all these little crony devils out to the world to try to convince people to do what's wrong. And they all come back and they say what their results were. And this guy did pretty well. This guy did even better. The last guy, he knocked it out of the park, right? And so they said to him, well, how did you convince everybody to do so much evil? And he said, I told everybody to do the right thing, but I told them to do it tomorrow. And I think that this is this principle right here. Okay, the upside is not fully understood or recognized. Now, I think this is a big one with respect to rev share. So for enough of us, letter A there, for enough of us, retirement is out far enough that the pain of not doing it right today is not imminent. And so it's not right there in our face. But this is just as true, I think, for a lot of us here, is that we don't really understand fully the true potential upside, or it's not recognized. Now, for some people, it is clear and visible, but they don't know how to do it. So some people are believers that they need revenue share and residual income in their life in order for them to accomplish their goal of retiring the way that they want to, the way they've defined that for themselves, but they don't know how to do it, which is fair. The person does know how to do it, but doesn't feel like he or she can do it. So some people say, yeah, I know it's important. I do know how to do it, but I don't think I can do it. And the last one is just fear that paralyzes. To me, these are the main reasons people fail to do what they know would be good for them. See if I have any notes on any more of those. Nope. So this series is going to, my goal is to eliminate every single one of these in your minds before the series is over. Okay. So if one of your takeaways, one of your homework things is I want you to tell me which of all of these, and it could be all of the above, one of the above, or if you think of a different one that I didn't think of, what is stopping you from getting out of your own freaking way and inviting agents to be in your revenue share group? There's something stopping you from doing it. You need to identify what that is. Okay?
Can I add that, Cody?
Yes.
So I'll be vulnerable. I do recruit so many people and have had like no success in anybody saying yes. So
Okay. So you're on the don't know how.
I do know how.
Well, no. By definition, you don't know how.
If I led everybody up to what we offer here at Synergy, and I have, then people say no, then I guess I've gotten frustrated and
You gave up.
I gave up, but this was after years.
Yep. Okay.
So,
Okay. Well, it's one of these
right.
that's like your thing falls into one of these.
Okay.
Now there might be some people out there who their thing doesn't fall into one of these, but that one is one of these. Did you have a comment, Dave?
Comment kind of adds.
Wait, one second. Can everybody online hear Ursula? Or do I? Lacey, did you guys hear that online?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Dave.
Cool, so I was just gonna add, like for some people, I don't wanna talk to agents because what am I gonna offer you outside of, I close transactions, sure, but I don't feel like I'm, like the guy to be learning this business from if you're talking to newer agents or if I'm going to a team that's established. Hey, I'm Dave, nice to meet you, buddy, why don't you come on over, there's
Okay.
that kind of resistance.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it, but that's what that.
So in the announcements leading up to this series, Lacey has been teasing you with a huge announcement. Okay, that huge announcement is a system that I have hundreds of hours in creating. It is an online course called T-Card, which takes a brand new agent in Synergy, regardless of their experience level, and explains to them in 72 lessons, including assignments and quizzes, what Synergy is and how they take the most advantage of it and what things they need to know to be successful as an agent. So I just took that one right off of your plate, Dave, because you don't have to know how to recruit. You don't have to know how to train. You don't have to know anything about real estate. I know of EXP groups around the country where the highest revenue share earner in the group is a girl who she was the highest revenue share earner after being in the business for 2 months. She knew nothing about the business, but they gave her the right resources to recruit, and she went out there and totally tackled it. Okay, so we're going to talk about the how to do it next week. Today, I want to convince you that you need to do this. All right. So I don't know if I mentioned this, but I want to make sure that there's another item of homework that you all get written down, which is what you want what you want retirement to be for you. I don't want retirement to be sitting on a beach. I would go crazy. Okay. If I'm sitting on a horse or a tractor, we're getting closer. All right. But I don't want it. I don't want to just be sitting around. But you need to really identify that for yourselves. And then we're going to take that and figure out if revenue share leads you to that or not, which I know it does. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so if you want to retire from this business, not only do you have to know what it looks like, but you eventually have to put together a plan. Most people don't know how to answer what their plan is. They cross their fingers, work as hard as they can, try to earn as much money as possible, and they hope they're praying to the right God. I have done this in my life. That formula is very common and very ineffective. So it takes what? What does it take? So everybody has a little bit of a different thing in their mind about what they want that to be for them. What does it take? Who's willing to share? Just okay. No, so I don't mean what does it take to get there. What I mean is, what is the result that lets you? So if yours is sitting on a beach, I'm just going to say that's yours, or riding a mountain bike, a nice mountain bike. Okay. What will allow you to do that?
Well, it's a bike, so it's not much.
Okay. Well, you got
But
other
my
expenses, you gotta eat.
Bills have to get paid, right?
Yeah.
Are you looking for like a dollar amount or?
No, just generally speaking. So sometimes the reason I'm bringing this up is because a lot of people have this concept in their mind that they're just gonna retire. They don't know what that looks like.
Perpetually.
It has to be residual income.
Sure, keep coming, whether you're there or not.
Now, there's a lot of different ways. We're going to talk about a few of these ways. There's a lot of different ways you can create residual income for yourself, but you can't say it's okay if I don't have income later because I have assets. That doesn't make sense. The reason that you are okay by having assets is because they will provide you income, because there's a lot of outgoing out of your household until the day you die. And in some cases, if you get unhealthy, the outgoing accelerates through the roof. So it's not like, I always keep telling myself this lie, like, as soon as these kids are not eating me out of house and home, I'm gonna have so much money. Okay, and then I see like, oh, because I got word today that one of my rental properties needs a $7,500 sewer line replacement. All right.
Hey Cody, you got news today. You're having grandkids and they're way more expensive than your own and never goes away.
That would also be something to consider, right? Thank you for that, Denise. Okay, so CPAs, they have a rule of thumb that they use. So CFA stands for Certified Financial Advisor, and it's CPAs, CFAs, any kind of person who's in the financial advisement business. They have a rule of thumb generally that they use. Does anybody know what that rule of thumb is? The rule of thumb is you need assets that equal a certain amount. You can take out they call it take out 4% a year. And what that really means is if you want $3,000 a month of income, which is $36,000 a year, then you apply 4%, you can reverse engineer how much you need. So you take 36,000 divided by 0.04 and you get $900,000. So what that means is if you want to retire on $3,000 a month, the rule of thumb is that you have to accumulate after you pay for dance, t-ball, volleyball, cheer, swim, mortgages, auto payments, all these things. After all of that, tithing, taxes, tithing and taxes, tuition. Okay, after all of that, I've got to have accumulated $900,000 that I somehow didn't let any of those monsters get. And I got to do that before I want to retire. And if I do that, the rule of thumb is I can take out $3,000 a month and make it till I die. That's kind of the general concept of that. So let's do a little bit of math here, because this really wouldn't be Cody Lewis training if we didn't have any math, right? So what is the median house price? Let's just use
$450,000.
let's use 425. Be conservative, okay?
420.
My math is already done, so I'm gonna go with 425. You guys can adjust this later.
Call me if you need that number next time.
Now, the average commission that I use is 2.75. Because sometimes it's 2.5, sometimes it's 3. If you do 7% listings, then it's 4.5. But to be fair, 2.75%. Okay. That's roughly 11,700. So if you do one transaction per month, that is 140,000 roughly in a year. Does anybody know what the average earnings are per worker in the United States?
50,000.
How much?
50,000.
Okay, it's a little higher than that. 70,000. That's the average. So if you do just one transaction a month, the law of averages says you should be earning twice what you could earn somewhere else. So now we're getting back to the good PR for the industry, right? But sadly, what is the average?
Transactions.
Yeah. 5 transactions a year is the average. So or one deal every 2 months, right? Depends on how you read this or which study you look at, but generally speaking, one deal every 2 months, which means that the average is that you're going to earn $70,000 if you're on the average. Okay. Now we all know that sometimes it's going to be better than that. Sometimes it's going to be way worse than that. I've had long stretches of zero to deal with. Okay. So the reality is of this is that even if you're very successful at earning commissions, you're most likely not going to set yourself up for retirement. This is why you don't hear about retirement parties for realtors, because you go and you go to a certain realty school. I won't name the name, but you stick this into the lock to open it.
Hey.
Okay. You go there and you hear the owner tell you all this math and the pathway you should be on, and you think, whoa. And then you say, well, what if I consistently closed 4 transactions a month? And you go, whoa. Okay. But the reality is that you probably cannot retire on just your commissions alone. Okay. So we have with us today one of the highest commission earners that we know. It's Joe DeRaffaelli. Joe, do you have income in addition to just your commission income?
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that's the point of commission income.
Yep. Okay, so what this means is that if we as synergy agents are actually going to set ourselves up for retirement, we cannot focus just on earning commissions only. And right now it's kicking our butts enough to know that that's a true statement. Okay. All right, so what do we actually have to do? This is going to be a little bit of a complicated slide, but just take the generalities of this, okay? So this right here is this is my opinion, and I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm not a certified financial advisor, and if I were, I certainly wouldn't be giving you financial advice right now. This is, in my opinion, what it takes. You have to have multiple sources of income and multiple methods of building wealth. You can be successful with one method, but most people who are successful financially and who retire with a lot of wealth have multiple. So I'll just share with you, in my own case, I have commission income, I have revenue share income, I earn stock, I have my investments from money that I've saved from the past, I own a commercial janitorial business, and right now the commercial janitorial business is what's saving my bacon. Okay, so multiple sources of income. Appropriating the income and wealth using the right percentages. Now, this is a question of, do I need that car or that car? And nobody I know, nobody I know feels like they know the answers like perfectly to this question. These are tough questions to answer, but most people don't even know where to begin thinking about this. Which vehicle should I be driving? Okay, or which vehicle could I be driving? The next one is long-term patient investment strategy. Now, I've shared with you before the little magic money machine. I'm going to give a little sprinkle of that today here in just a minute. But there is an entire video on the Synergy WhatsApp. There's 2 videos on the Synergy WhatsApp. No, not WhatsApp, YouTube channel that are called the Smart Money series. And I go through in great detail about what the little magic money machine is. The premise of it is this. Cody, if you had a little device, let's say that little phone right there that you're holding was a little magic money machine, and you put $1 in one side, in a slot in one side, and it pushed out more than $1 on the other side, what would you do with that little magic money machine?
Put my money.
Put a lot of money through it. Okay. Now, what if you put that money in and you say, I'm going to let it stay there for a minute, and I'll come back and get it tomorrow, and it would give you more than if you took it out today? Would you leave it in longer? What would you do? You would want to put as much money in for as long as you could, because what if you knew that if you leave it in a year, it's not just linearly more, right? It's not just a multiple, but it's exponentially more than if you leave it in a day. And if you leave it in for 5 years, it's exponentially more than that. What if you knew you had that machine?
I'd use it.
We have that machine. It exists. I'm here to tell you that that machine exists. Okay, so I taught my son 1 year ago. He's 17 now. He was 16. I sat him down and I gave him the famous Lewis money magic machine, little magic money machine talk. And he got it. And I showed him, you're 16. If you start now and you do this much a month until you're 20 and this much a month until you're 25 and it was tens of millions of dollars. The power of time and money is unbelievably strong. He has $11,000 in the little magic money machine in 1 year. Yep, he's a lifeguard at a pool, and every time he gets a check, puts it in his bank, and he comes to me and he says, "Dad, leave 70 in there, and all the rest put it in." And I put it in the magic machine for him. All right, balance, diversity, and planning on how your money is working for you. We could talk about that forever. Faith and charity. All right, so let's do break from this for just a second. And I want to show you guys this. Which one are you guys seeing, Lacey? Are you seeing a blank blue screen?
Yes. Yes, sorry.
I'm good.
Everyone good that way? Okay. So this will look familiar to you because we've talked about this before. If you want to earn $3,000 a month, you need $900,000 post-tax, post-life savings. Okay, that's option one. And then let's say instead, option two is that you recruit 4 agents a year for 2 years. Okay. That's 8 agents. The way that the EXP model works is that those 8 agents have the ability to pay you $2,800 each, which if they did all cap, well, it would be $22,400. Under this scenario, all you would need is for each of them to be half as excited as you are about it. Now, when you guys see what the T card is and how powerful of a tool it is, you'll see that this is very conservative because you can get everybody else just as excited as you. And this is part I know because I'm trying to live it right now. I'm trying to get you guys as excited as I am about dipping into that gold river, because when you have a rev share check come through your door that's $15,000 in 1 month and you have no closings, you feel pretty good about that still. Okay. So they can pay you as much as $3,200 a year because remember, when they cap, they stop paying revenue share. We can get into the mathematics of this later. But that would be $51,200. That totals $73,600 a year. But Cody, what about the averages? What's the average agent going to close? Half of that. The average agent will be what's called a half capper. So we're going to divide that in half. That equals $36,800, which just happens to be $3,000 a month. Now, I'm not saying that either one of these is easier. But if you want to retire with $3,000 a month, your choices are grind away and save $900,000. So you have it when you want to retire, or have residual income that comes from another source this way. Which of these two seems easier to you?
Two.
Do you think if I told you right now, Katie, collect $900,000 in 2 years so that you're at the same spot as you would be if you did this? No, I'm not saying either one of them's easy, but it's right there and it's super powerful. All right, so what if you want $15,000 a month of residual income? That would be the equivalent of having to grind, dance, cheer, tuition, right? And and at the end have $4.5 million after tax money. Now, is there a scenario that is realistic that we can do this? So I'm going to say that 3 agents for 3 years plus one more. You can always squeak out one more. Okay, that's going to be 10 agents. Those 10 agents could pay you as much as $2,800 each. And let's say that they are as ambitious as you are. Then each one of those 10 will bring 10. That would be 100 agents in the level 2. If they all were to cap, I know this isn't realistic, but just go with me for a minute. $320,000. That is $348,000. Let's apply the half cap to it. $180,000 a year, which happens to be just, I mean, it just worked out that way. Okay, so the reason I'm bringing this up is because this is not difficult math to do. We can put this in a calculator and figure out like this, what does this need to look like? And then that way, that's what we can be putting out there. So Tamara has taught us all how to, I love the way she says this, give birth to the success that's coming. Something like that. I probably totally botched it. Sorry, Tamara. But that's how I think of it. She's like, okay, we did this exercise. She goes, you all just gave birth to this thing. And I was like, kind of felt good to give birth. Don't know what all these women
I heard.
Okay. All right. Now I want to show you what I think is the truly powerful. Now, let me just
Spreadsheet ever.
I will confess that there are times where I just sit at my computer and play with these numbers. Because I just want to know what are the sensitivities of this. Now, this is a one-time investment. Now, what this says is if I invest, let's just say today I invest $10,000. So I'm on this line right here. Hopefully you guys can see that online as well enough. If I invest $10,000 and do nothing else again, I just put it in a little magic money machine and never put in any more again. This is what that will be worth at the end of each one of those number of years. So if I put in $10,000, so my son is 16. How old is he going to be in 35 years? We're getting a lot of different answers. 35 plus 16. 51. Okay. That 10,000 he's got today, if he did nothing else, which I can tell you, he has tasted the goodness and he is not going to stop. If that's all he did ever, he'd have $204,000 when he's roughly my age.
Where's this machine?
Okay. Now,
This is fun.
let's look at this one, which is what is called an annuity, which just means that it's every year. Okay. Now, remember when we said that if you had revenue share built up that was earning $3,000 a month, that you're not going to stop. Like let's say that tomorrow let's say in 2 years, like we showed in the slide, you have $3,000 a month, and that's good enough for you. You can retire on that and you're happy with it. You're not going to stop the other activities, right? So this 3,000 can go in. Let's say that you're doing enough activities to pay your bills like you are now, and you're going to add incrementally revenue share of $3,000 a month. Okay, this is very possible. This is very possible. That $3,000 a month, if it goes in, is $36,000 a year. But let's just say $30,000 a year. Can we see both at the same time? We can. So if I start today putting in $30,000 a year, this is what the numbers become over those number of years.
Some of us can't see those.
Okay, so after 30 years, it's 4 million. After 25 years, it's 2.5 million. Okay. Well, what do you want it to be? 15 years?
15 years.
15 years is 880,000.
That's not bad.
That's almost the 900,000 we were talking about. Now this is the part that nobody thinks about. You're earning the 3,000 So remember how we said, what's easier, option one or option two? What if you use option two to create option one also?
Right.
Right.
So now you have 3,000 a month coming in from your revenue share, and you're using the rule of thumb from the advisors where you can take 4% of your 880,000. Now you have $6,000 a month in residual income. We're getting there. Okay, my wife and I have figured out when we have no kids, what do we need to live? We could fly around to wherever our grandkids are, anywhere in the world. How much would we need a year? And we sat my parents down, who my parents don't spend any money ever. My parents have a vehicle that is parked in their garage in their Idaho house that is not registered and I don't believe is insured. And why is that? Because they don't want to spend the money on the $55 of registration a year and the insurance. That's crazy. So I only took their stuff with a grain of salt because I'm not doing that. My wife is like, I'm going to have my own vehicle, Cody. Let's just get that straight right now. So we sat down, my in-laws, my father-in-law and my mother-in-law. My father-in-law was an engineer at a very average engineering firm, earning a very average income, probably a little lower than the average income. And those guys are never home. They are on a cruise every day. I'm always like, Jana, where are your parents right now? They're in Europe. They're over here. They have plenty. So we sat them down and said, if you don't want to share, we're not trying to pry, but we'd like to know what's our target. And I was blown away at how little income they can do that lifestyle on. Okay, so this is, I want to get out of anyone's mind that you have to be Brent Gove for this to make sense to you. Because I had this stuck in my head for a while. I was like, how am I going to just completely dominate the whole world? That's why you have to identify for yourself, what is it for you? For me, it was the mortgage. Now I'm changing it to something else. But we got to start with something like that that's totally realistic. So this is something I'm willing to send to everybody afterwards, this spreadsheet, because there's a thing in here, there's a calculator in here that lets you say, I have to make this a little smaller so we can all read it. You can, anywhere that's a blue cell, you can change it. So you can say, if I'm 40 years old now, and if I already have 200,000 invested, and if I invest an additional 2,000 per month starting today, when I'm 65 years old, I'm going to have $4 million. Okay. I think I can do it. I think I can get there. Okay. So, and don't get too upset if you're already old. You can still do it. Okay. You can still do it. Okay. You can't put in an age older than 65 right here and make this math work because it won't go backwards. Time value, the little magic money machine doesn't go backwards, it only goes forward. The other thing that it has in here that I just want to show you all quickly is it has this little calculator right here that you can put in. If I'm already invested, then you can change how much. Oh, so my age today is this. If I'm already invested this much, then if I put in this much, what would be my amount in at certain ages? And then I can say, okay, if I apply the rule of 4, then this says, okay, if this is my scenario that I put in, then at age 60, I could take out $96,000 a year. I'm right here. I could take out $96,000 a year and it wouldn't reduce my principal. I could live on this. This is my residual income that generates from it. So it's kind of fun to look at this and say, okay, now I know what I'm actually shooting at. You can't shoot at a target that's like, well, I'm just going to do the best I can do. I understand that, but Tamara, does putting out to the universe, I'm just going to do the best I can do, is that as effective as saying, I'm giving birth to this specific thing and this is what I want?
Very specific.
Specific and intentional, I think, is a word you use a lot.
Very intentional and fired out.
Okay, I want to come back to a couple of things and then we'll be done. My financial advisor's name is Adam Dawson. He's written 2 books that I highly recommend. Joe, have you started it?
Went in.
Okay. So I recommended this to Joe a little bit ago. I think he ordered it on the spot, but both of these books, I'd start with this one if you haven't read it, and then I'd go to that one. But both of these books, I said to myself, I already know so much about finances. What am I going to learn from them? And when I read the first one, I was blown away because it took all these ideas and put it into such a beautiful, concise way of thinking of it. It's like the basics of understanding what you got to do to put your plan together. And then the next one was really interesting to me because the premise of this one is that he has a lot of clients who are very high net worth individuals who did not get there because they're dumb. And they lose a lot of money. And so this is a whole book about how smart people lose money investing. Right? Because a lot of us think, oh, only dumb people lose money investing. But there's plenty of ways that smart people can lose money investing. Okay. I mentioned in the previous slide, the letter E here is faith. Okay. Now I want to say this a certain way. I don't want to rely on my own memory to say it. So I'm going to read what I wrote down here in my notes. Your life is the result of a plan that you constructed for yourself before you were born. You are free to make this life whatever you wanted to make it. You could make it look like whatever you wanted to make it look like. But there was one principle you could not violate. You were not allowed to violate. You couldn't give yourself something for nothing. There was something that it was predicated upon. But it's not a big thing that it's predicated upon. It's predicated upon you believing that you could actually have it. That is it. That is what faith is. You can give yourself whatever you want it to be, but you have to believe that you could, or you will never get it. It is predicated upon that. Charity. I'm going to recommend a talk that I love to listen to from time to time. This was given at a BYU. It was a BYU conference of some kind. I don't know if this was a devotional, so I don't know if this has a religious undertone. I can't remember, but it was done at BYU, where I did my economics undergrad. There's the link to it to get to YouTube. But if you just type in Arthur C. Brooks, Why Giving Matters, you'll find this. I really recommend listening to this because this guy did a study, a scientific study, where they tried to determine if being charitable was causality to being wealthy. Okay, now in this talk, you're going to see he quotes somebody as having said, I believe the power to make money is a gift from God. Now, I know a lot of people who know how to build a lot of successful things. I know a lot of people who know all the business principles. I know a lot of people who can actually run a really well-run business. But knowing how to make money is a different skill set. The person who said this was John D. Rockefeller, one of the wealthiest people ever. He believed that the power to make money was a gift from God. And you can replace God with whatever it is you think is your higher power, your higher source, whatever you think that is. I believe this too. I think that it's a skill that has to be learned, how to make money, not just be successful or run a good business, but how to actually turn that into making money is a skill that's different from just earning income. Now, a lot of times people use this quote as trying to say that John D. Rockefeller was a bad guy, because the first part of this quote is where he says, God gave me my money. But then the context of it is that he says, I believe the power to make money is a gift from God. The question he was trying to answer in this Arthur guy who gave the speech when he did the study when he was at Harvard was, does being rich lead to charitability, or does being charitable lead to being rich? And when you listen to the talk, you'll see that they've proven It's scientifically proven that being charitable will lead you to being rich. But that has to fall into the plan, because you'll never hear a financial advisor say, if you want to be rich, give all of your money away. Right? It has to be part of a bigger plan that you're doing with those things that we saw on a previous slide. Now I'm going to finish by telling you guys a story about a lady that I met on the plane coming here, which I was like, how fortunate is this timing? Okay, so this lady's name is Marge. She was sitting right next to me on the plane. We got talking. I usually just put in my earbuds, listen to a podcast, and I don't want to talk to anybody, especially not on a plane. But I got talking to her a little bit. She's 86 years old. She's from Helena, Montana. Her husband, Nick, passed away in March. It's only been 5 months. I learned this kind of deeper into the conversation. And what really intrigued me was that she was so comfortable and centered in her retirement. Her husband had a very normal job. She did not work. He made less than the average household income for his whole 35, 40 years that he worked for this company. And when he retired, his retirement income from all that his company was giving him was $500 a month. And she's telling me all this, and yet she's just cool as a cucumber. And she told me about how they, over the course of their lives, invested in single-family residences, and at one point had 27 rental homes. And I was like, how did you do that on that income? Now, it doesn't stop there because, excuse me, it doesn't stop there because she was also invested in all these different annuities and other types of investments. She didn't want real estate to be the only thing that she was doing. They were also putting away college money for their children. I mean, these guys did this like picture perfect, amazing. And so I said to her, how come you're so comfortable right now? And your husband just passed away 5 months ago. And she said, well, because I know I'm totally taken care of for the rest of my life, easily, because of all the planning we did. And she's going to see a grandkid, and this was on the tail of seeing another grandkid, and she's going to go after that to see another grandkid. So I just want you to look. Look at that face.
Yeah.
And look at the comfort in that face.
Good old Marge.
So that's what I want to look like.
Yeah.
When I'm 86 years old. And I don't care if I have twice the number of those wrinkles. That's what I want to look like. Look into those eyes. Those eyes say, I did this. I got this. I did this. I succeeded. I was really impressed with that. Grateful that I met her on the plane right here. I thought it was, really fortunate timing for me. All right. So I hope that I have encouraged you and not discouraged you. But I also hope that you guys have got the message really clearly that I am not going to stop nagging the heck out of you all to do what I know you should be doing, which is to get a revenue share group going. Now, we're not going to do it the way a lot of EXP lines do it. We're going to do it what I think is the better way. We're not going to do it because we want a retirement. We're going to do it because we know it's the best thing for other agents, and that's going to lead us and them to a better retirement. I am going to give you all of the ways that I know of on how to invite people the best way possible. It's a skill set. We're going to practice this together. We're going to talk about the psychology of it, why it works. We're going to talk about when it doesn't work. We're going to have you guys share things that you know will work that I'm not going to think of to bring up. We're going to learn together how to do this so that we all know the best ways to do this. And we're also going to put together a plan so that the how we're going to do it and the what we're going to do and the why we're going to do it all fit together so that we're giving birth to this thing that we can actually be successful at doing. And this is all going to happen for whoever does it. I just need to know if you're in or not on that.
In it.
Okay. All right, well, thank you guys for being here today. I know we talked a lot about concepts, and I like to get into the nitty gritty of stuff. I don't like things that are just more theoretical, but I feel like the concepts of this was really important today. So that you guys believe that it can be done. I know it can be done, and when you see what the T card is, you're gonna see, gosh, he took all of the Dave Reichert concern off.
Yes.
Right? Because I can tell you the reason I built the T card is because I had that concern. It has been stopping me for a year. I'm done with that. I'm back in. I'm back in the game because I did a little bit of math in the spreadsheet and said, I'm a little off. I need to get there. What do I need to do to get there and put together a plan for myself? Okay. All right. Next week, Wednesday, 4:00 Zoom. I won't be in town. It's going to be on Zoom. And Lacey, when's the third one?
We will send that out. It's going to be 2 weeks after that.
You're talking, but we don't hear you.
Oh, I don't know why you don't hear me. I
Lacey,
hear
are
you,
you? Oh,
Lacey.
wait. The power strip turned off. Or the sound bar, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
It's 23rd to 30th.
Okay, say it again, Lace.
It wasn't anything exciting. I said it's going to be 2 weeks after that when I don't have it top of my fingers, but we will send it out.
Okay, so the second one is a week from today, and then 2 weeks after that is the third one.
11th.
I think it's on a different day.
If you go to the Synergy Eventbrite page, all of our events are there. You should register for all of them. Now, there's going to be some people that weren't here today. Please encourage them to watch the replay and be ready for the second one, because the second one will be way more meaningful if you have had the first one. And I would encourage all of you, this will be on the YouTube channel. I would encourage all of you to watch this replay again sometime right before we do the second one, so that you're still in the believer state of mind when we talk about how to preach the gospel. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And you're done.